All right, hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for tuning in all around the world. My name is Chidubem Wimu, D2 on the Village Docs. I also go by Bems, and today we have one of our Village Live series where we interview doctors from all around the world who have different accomplishments. So today we're going to be talking to Dr. Eva, and without further ado, we're going to get her on the line. Let us see. Okay. All right, we got people tuning in little by little. That's wonderful. Just gotta wait for her to get here. But yeah, okay. So here we have Dr. Eva. Now I'm gonna go ahead and add her on here. Oh, I can just accept that.
Hi.
Oh, hey, Dr. Eva. Thank you so much for having us today. Thank you for
No
tuning in. Wonderful, wonderful.
problem. I'm trying to connect this thing, so hold on.
Okay, please take your time. Take your time. Please go ahead. Go
Let
ahead.
me get it plugged in.
Wonderful. This is good. This is good. This is good news. Yes. All right. Just let me know when you're ready for us to dice it up and dive right in.
I'm ready when you are, because now I can hear you.
Spectacular. Spectacular. All right. So for those that are just tuning in, this is the Village Live series where we go ahead and interview different doctors from different professions. That's what we do here on the Village Docs. My name is Chidubem. I'm a fourth year student at Ross University. And today we have the esteemed Dr. Eva, who we're interviewing today. Just from our background, just a little bit about her. She is a Ross University alum. She is a mentor and a physician, definitely an author as well, and a mother of three. Dr. Eva, just for those that are tuning in, can you just give a little bit about yourself, just small background, so they can know exactly what's going on.
Well, I'm going to keep it short and
Okay.
sweet. So I grew up in Haiti until almost 15 when I moved to the US. Unexpectedly, that's a whole nother story.
Right.
And finished my high school, started my undergrad, ended up finishing up medical school through Ross University, did my internal medicine residency in Macon, Georgia. And I ended up in Atlanta. I'm a hospitalist now. I do have three kids, and I am an author of two books. I also have a coaching program. So, in a nutshell, keeping it under 30 seconds, that's who I am.
Spectacular. Amazing. Thank you for sharing that with us. So let's just get right into it. Let's just dice it up. This is the Village Doctors. We want to know for the most part about medicine. What drew you towards the field, towards the practice, towards the art of medicine? Can you just walk us through that journey a little bit?
Well, I grew up with two parents that are doctors. My dad was a radiologist, my mom did dermatology. And so growing up around them, they had their own practices. You could imagine, having two parents with two different specialties, working two different businesses, running payroll, doing all of that.
Right.
Um, I kind of admired them and the passion that they had for medicine. They would take me to work with them sometimes, and I would see how they would literally change people's lives. In Haiti, a lot of people are poor and don't have money. So they were really making a difference in the community, changing their lives, saving lives, helping people, even if they didn't have any money to pay. So I always wanted to be like my parents. And as long as I could remember, I wanted to do medicine, never changed my mind. And that's how my whole journey started.
I see. You might have already mentioned this already, but as far as your transition from undergrad to medical school, like to Ross, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, for instance, what was your major in undergrad? How was that for you, and how was your application process, and then how did you ultimately end up deciding to go to Ross?
So when I started, moving from Haiti to all of a sudden start high school here was a major transition because I had to get used to the culture. I had to get used to learn the language because English was not my first language. So that was a lot of pressure. But once I really got a hang of the system, High school was super easy compared to school back home.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
that's
it was super easy.
right.
So I was able to skip a grade because of
Mm,
that.
mm,
When I started, they put me in ninth grade
mhm.
in the middle of January. Because, like I said, I came in unexpectedly. I came in on vacation for the Christmas break and had to stay. So I started ninth grade in the middle of the school year. And then within a week, quickly realized, wait, I had already done all this. So they put me in 10th grade. Finished up 10th grade, skipped 11 and went straight to high to 12th grade.
Oh wow.
Because, the transition was pretty easy. But
Mhm,
then going from high school to undergrad, I
mhm.
had the same mindset that it
Right.
was going to be a breeze, it was going to be easy, so I went in thinking, oh, it's going to be the same thing.
Mhm,
I was shocked
mm.
at the steepness of like the difficulty of it
Right.
all to the
The
point
learning
where
curve.
like I almost failed my first semester. I had to drop out of two or three classes.
Mm,
I was like, I'm not getting an F. I might as well get an I for an incomplete, which
mhm,
kind of affected my GPA. But then it was like a true shock to me
mm,
how difficult it was.
yeah.
I picked the biology major because of a lot of us are told, well, we're told at the time that if you wanted to go to medical school, you either had to do biology or chemistry
Right.
or like a science major. Of
Right.
course, now we know that's not true.
Yeah.
You could pick any major that you want, as long as you have the prerequisites. But at the time, I didn't know, so I did biological sciences. And then after realizing that, wait, they're not playing around here. This is hard. I really had
Yeah.
to buckle up and
All right.
study.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I did for the rest of it. So I had met a group of friends
Okay.
that were really my support system. They were so motivated. They wanted to be dentists and doctors. So we studied together, we took classes together, we helped each other out. So that was really what pushed me through and helped me through. And then decided to start med school in the UK. So I
Oh.
did my first 2 years in the UK, and then from there transferred to Ross University, completed my last 2 years with Ross University, and that's how I graduated. Um, the whole process of like leaving one establishment to go to the other was not easy because Ross said, we're going to take you, but you need to take your USMLE, you need to pass, you need to do well. So I came back, I studied for like 3 months straight,
Mm-hmm.
and then took the USMLE, passed it, and then that's when they accepted me.
Mm. Wow, that's amazing, honestly. I had no idea that you actually like went to the UK and you spent some time over there before transitioning back to the States.
I
Um,
did.
and that was
Hmm.
like that was where you did basic sciences over there?
I did basic sciences over there. Um, yeah, yeah, two
And like,
years.
how was that? I guess, how do you feel like there's any like difference as far as like, how you had to learn or like the resources that were available to you, versus like coming over here? Like, was that like a difficult transition for you as well?
You know, I don't know if it was a difficult transition. Like I already had the mindset that it wasn't going to be
Mm,
easy.
I see.
So already knowing that from the very beginning, I pushed through, I studied hard, I was meeting with the professors. So I did what I had to do, knowing that it was going to be, difficult, but not impossible. I mean, of course, my first semester starting the basic sciences was not easy. That was the hardest. Because
Mhm.
every time you go, like going from high school to college was a shock. Going
Right.
from undergrad to starting basic science was another
Yeah.
shock,
Right. Right.
but then I was already prepared because I knew that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the thing that made me want to come back was, it was a few things, but I was missing home. The
Mm.
weather was, coming from
Yeah.
Florida, going there. The weather was
Yeah, it's too cold
really,
over there. We don't like the
yeah.
cold. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Or
then
the
it rains
sunlight.
all the time.
Oh, nah, 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 nah.
So that really wasn't what I wanted to do. I didn't want to stay there any longer. And I was so thankful that Ross was, able to give me an opportunity to come back because Ross is one of the really good ones. They have a very good reputation. So coming back was pretty smooth.
Right. So you knew like what you had to do, was going to be difficult, but not necessarily impossible, and like you were prepared to take on that challenge.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So now we're in medical school. Like you're doing your clinicals in Ross. At what point in time did you decide, okay, that internal medicine was the route for me? And how did you come about that process?
So, when you're going through like all the different rotations the last couple of years, which is what I did when I came back to the US and transitioned into Ross, you get to rotate through almost everything, the core rotations, the electives. That's when you really get to feel and see what it's like working in that specialty. Like you may think you're gonna love pediatrics and that's what you want to be a pediatrician. And then once you start going through the rotations and you're like, nah, I don't want to do this. I like dermatology instead.
Yeah.
So you really get to see what it's like to wake up and do this thing every day. You work with those doctors, the nurses, you go into the hospital. So I really, really fell in love with GI. Believe
Oh,
it or not, I fell in love with GI.
oh wow.
So I thought I was going to be a gastroenterologist, and
Right.
that's why I went into internal medicine. Because to be a gastroenterologist, you have to do internal medicine first. So
Right.
I applied for internal medicine residency with the goal of doing a fellowship
Mm-hmm.
and getting into GI at some point.
Right.
Of course, I'm not a gastroenterologist now.
Right. Yeah, I can see that. We can see that. We can see that.
So, like starting internal medicine residency,
Mhm.
as an intern, it was very difficult because back then the calls were every 3 days and you did 30-hour shifts. Okay,
Wow.
straight. So you would
You
go
guys didn't have
in.
like a cap off, like for like the amount of hours.
We had a cap for admissions
Oh, for
when we were doing the admission shift, but no, it was 30 hours. So you would go in today, work, 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 stay overnight,
mm-hmm.
and then not leave till the next day, 2 p.m. And
Mm-hmm.
then 2 p.m. you go. You tired, you go
Of
sleep.
course.
And then you come back again the next day for a regular day, and then after that, a whole 30 hours again.
Mm-hmm.
It was crazy. I know now they don't do that
Yeah,
anymore,
yeah, yeah. I'm getting
but
fatigued just listening to that. Like it's crazy. Definitely. Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was insane. So, throughout my whole like internal medicine residency, I kind of liked hospital medicine, but still I thought I was going to be a gastroenterologist. So I applied for a fellowship. I got one or two interviews and I didn't get the fellowship. But then it was like at the same time when like I met my husband and then we got married and then I got pregnant and then it was time to move. And I was like, you know what? I don't mind internal medicine. I like hospital medicine. Forget fellowship. I'll just do internal medicine. So that's how I ended up staying as a hospitalist. And I'm happy with it.
Okay. And so, what is your schedule like as a hospitalist? Like, how do I don't because I know like some job requirements you can have 7 days on, 7 days off. Some are 14 days on, 14 days off. How is it like for you?
Most places, I mean, it varies from hospital to hospital, but generally speaking, like you said, you have a block of days on and a block of days off. Most places will do 7 on, 7 off, and most places do 12-hour shifts. For
Okay.
me, it's 7 on, 7 off, but it's 10-hour shifts. They have figured out a way to like stack the doctors so that it's 10 hours. So I start my day at 6 a.m., I'm done at 4 p.m., and then there's a mid shift that starts at noon that's done at 10 p.m. And then there's an afternoon shift that starts at 4 p.m. that's done at 2 a.m. So the mid shift and the afternoon shift, all of us have to do every 2 to 3 months. So every two to
Um,
three months, I'll have my 7 days either during the mid shift or my 7 days during the 4 p.m. shift. And those are shifts where we're only doing admissions.
only
Okay.
through admissions.
Yes, it's busy like that where we are. We're only doing admissions on those shifts. But the 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. shifts are the rounding shifts. So you coming
Mhm.
in, and that's what most of us do. And like I said, every 2 to 3 months, you got to do the mid shift or the 4 p.m. shift.
Mhm.
So we round from 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. On average, we have about 20 patients on the census. Every once in a while, it's less. It might be a little bit more sometimes, but that's usually how it is. It's 7 days straight. So we start on a Tuesday and we finish the following Monday. And
Okay.
then the following Tuesday, for that whole 7 days, we're off. And it doesn't matter if it falls during holidays, if it falls during your birthday,
Mm.
if it falls during, I mean, it don't matter. That's your
right.
7 days, okay?
Okay.
And you know your schedule for the whole year pretty much because it's
Mhm.
7 on 7 on 7. So you can kind of plug it in so you know what
Right.
it's gonna be like.
Okay.
Now, if you need a day off because you have your birthday or an event or somewhere to go, you can ask the opposite team, someone in the opposite team, to work your shift or
Mm.
1 or 2 days for you, and then you work for them. Like you work it out
Right.
to
Right.
where, like, the hospital doesn't care as long as you guys swap
Mhm.
equally and it's the same amount of days ultimately that you end up working for the year. So that's how sometimes I could take a long vacation. Like when I went to Ghana, I
Oh
was
wow.
gone for almost 3 weeks
Okay.
because of that. So
Right.
that's how the schedule is. Yeah.
So I feel as though sometimes people can hear this 7 days on, 7 days off, and it sounds like the most spectacular thing ever. Because imagine just it being in medical school. I mean, definitely like where we are right now, like having this constant level of bombardment of academic requirements, and just having just 7 days of not necessarily having any academic commitments. It can be like relieving in some sense. How so? Like for you, how are those 7 days for you? Like are you just do you need like time to recuperate, or like what is it? Go just walk us through like your 7 days when you're off
So
of
I'm off today. That's why I'm able to do this.
okay, wonderful, wonderful.
And I start my 7 days tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
But on my 7 days on, I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty hectic because mind you, I have 3 kids, right?
Mhm, mhm,
So, and I still have to go to work those 7 days. So I usually wake up super early. I don't see the kids in the morning because by the time I leave the house, it's 5:30 in the morning. Everybody's sleeping. And then I come home and then I get to be with them for a little bit of time. They have things they need to do, extracurricular, homework, whatever. And then I still have to find time to plug in the gym in that because for me, the gym is non-negotiable.
wow, wow.
So, so
Yeah, yeah.
I like those. I go to the gym 4 days.
Mhm.
So I work out in the afternoons on those 7 days. So those 7 days are really hectic. By 9, 10 p.m., I'm dead. Like I'm so
Done.
tired. Like,
Imagine.
wait, even by 7 p.m., I'm done. But
Oh,
after the kids go to sleep and all that, I end up falling asleep probably at 9, 9:30, and then do it all over again for a whole 7 days. The
wow.
first 2 or 3 days, I have energy. I could do it. I
Mhm.
just came off of a 7 off
7 days.
days.
Right,
And
right.
then day 4 is when I'm like, I'm counting the days, like it's hard to
Mhm.
keep going.
Right.
But when I'm off, it's amazing. Like it's great.
Tell
You
us
get
more.
to
Tell
do
us more, please.
you get to do anything you want to do. You can sleep in, you can work on your other ventures, you can meet with friends, you can travel, like I mean, do whatever you want. On my 7 off days, I work out in the morning after I take the kids to school, and then I have the rest of the day to do anything I need to do. So it all depends on how you balance it, how you work your schedule. But just know that the 7 days that you're working, it's not easy. I mean, it's hard, it's
Right.
a lot of patience, it's a lot of responsibilities, it's mentally draining because when you're at work, you're taking care of people. That's scary. You're
Definitely.
not in a bakery shop, you're not
Mhm.
selling socks or
No,
shoes.
no,
Like
no, no. It's
you
different.
really taking care of people. It's
Right.
serious business. And
Mhm.
that alone is a lot of pressure. So by the time I come home, I'm mentally drained. Like I can't do any more medicine. So I don't talk medicine when I get home with my husband. Like we don't even talk about that. I'm like, I'm over it.
Right.
I'm over
And
it.
yeah, and that kind of brings us to like the next question, like that drain mentality that you have, like after working so hard, like how do you deal with that? How do you deal with burnout? What are the things you do to like lessen the burden and lessen the stress, like on your mental state?
The gym.
Okay.
The gym. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
that's my only time to remove myself from an environment where people are pulling from me in every direction. Because they do that to me at work. They're
Mm,
pulling from me in every direction. The patients need me. Family members want to talk to me. The nurses are calling you. You have meetings to attend. You have, notes to write. patients
Right.
to see. Like it's a lot. You've been pulled in many different directions. And I try my best to stay focused so that I don't bring any work home. I refuse to bring charts home. I will
Absolutely.
not do that. Okay.
Preach, preach, preach. Yeah, yeah,
I will
yeah.
not do that. So
It's
when I
taboo.
go to work, if that means I have to wake up early to start my shift before my shift starts, that's what I do because I'm not going to come here and type on my computer any notes at 6, 7, 8 p.m. So sometimes I do go to work super early. Like I may call tonight to find out what the census is like. Am I going to have a lot of patients? Because the census goes up and down sometimes.
Mhm.
And then if I gotta wake up early, especially on day one, because the first day of the 7 days, you don't know anybody. So it takes you a lot of time to like go through the records, get acclimated to what the
Right.
patients are here for, what's going on. So I may go an hour, 45 minutes before my shift starts. Because like I said, when I come to this house, I'm not bringing no
Right.
charts home. That's a deal
Okay.
breaker for me.
Right.
And then when I come home, then I know, okay, it's done. I did all my charts, I'm done.
Right.
And then hang out with the kids for an hour and a half and then go to the gym. I leave my house to go to the gym because again, the kids are pulling for me in every direction. So it's overwhelming
Yeah.
having to do this from 5 a.m. to the time you sleep. So when I leave to go to the gym, then that's my time. That's my hour and a half to like de-stress. I put my phone away. I just focus on working out. I have a group of friends with me. We have a good time. And then I come back. So that's
Mhm.
what I do to kind of de-stress. And I really started doing that and keeping the gym consistently since I want to say like the pandemic.
Mhm.
I've been really serious about it since the pandemic because that was my little getaway.
Right. And I don't know if you said this already, but like the friends that you're talking about, are these the same ones that you came up with like from the time like when you were talking about like going to medical school, or are these like individuals that you just met along the journey and you just connected with and you kept on moving together?
Well, those are people that I meet at the gym that are there
I
consistently.
see. Okay.
So they're just like my gym friends,
I see. Okay. 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 No problem. No
my
problem.
workout buddies.
Okay, about it. Okay. And you said this a little bit like about like traveling to Ghana, but like do you travel a lot and how often do you do it?
Yes,
And then
traveling is another thing that I love doing.
oh, okay.
Like that's one of my when I tell you like I spend all my coins on traveling. I spend all my coins on traveling
Right.
because I just come back fulfilled, you it's a way of like escaping and then
Mhm.
trying
Where have you
something
been to?
new. A lot of places. I did Portugal, I did Ghana, South
Oh wow.
Africa, the Caribbean, like
Oh
St.
wow.
Lucia, Jamaica, Bahamas, all these places.
Hmm.
I did Sweden, Paris, uh, Spain. I mean,
That's
just
a
a
whole
lot
lot
of
of
different
places.
places.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of different
Okay. Okay.
places.
Right.
But Mexico, of course, I go to Mexico all the time because it's right there. But now I want to like go back to Africa more because I'm like falling in love with the continent of
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah. So because you definitely didn't mention Nigeria in any of your
I
places.
haven't been there yet. I need to do
Okay.
Kenya. Like I need to
Right.
do a lot of these places, but traveling is one of the things I love, 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 love doing. And I try to take the kids as much as I can, but sometimes I don't want to go with the kids because you come back more tired than ever. Like you come back needing a vacation from a vacation because when you travel with the kids, it's all about the kids. Like whatever
Right.
they want to do,
Right. Right. Right.
they wake up, they're ready to go. You have to be ready to go with them. So every once in a while, I go with a girlfriend
Okay.
or two, or I go with my husband, and then we take the kids too. So we kind of like balance it. If I don't take the kids, then I have my mother-in-law here, a nanny. It depends on how long I go. If I go for like 3 or 4 days somewhere that's not too far, they can stay with a nanny. But if
Okay.
I go really, really far, like when my husband and I went to South Africa, we were gone for 10 days, 11 days. My mother-in-law flew in, she stayed with the kids.
Okay.
Then that way we could leave for that long. So
Okay.
yeah.
That's amazing. So my next question is definitely like in all fields, in all specialties, there are some stereotypes associated with the job. Can you tell us like about some of yours and if you feel like they have some truth to them at all, or you just completely dispel them? You
Well, I would say when it's time for you to pick a specialty,
Mm.
really follow your heart, okay?
Okay.
Don't do it for the money. Don't do it only for the lifestyle. Do it because deep down inside, this is what you want to do. Now, it's also important to look into other things. How long it's going to take you to achieve that goal, because some residency programs are longer than others. Some require fellowship and even more subspecialties, like more fellowship even after the fellowship, you know?
Mm. Definitely.
So
Classifications.
look at the time that is going to take, the effort that is going to take. Is that something you really want to do? Because it would suck for you to like spend all this time and then realize towards the end that you didn't want to do that to begin with. Then
Mm.
you have to go back and do something else. Okay. And then the lifestyle is also important. What kind of lifestyle are you going to have working that specialty forever when you're done? So those are really things to consider. Um, Internal medicine, like hospital medicine, generally speaking, people say have a good lifestyle. It is also high burnout. But there are pros and cons with anything that you choose. So I always recommend like write the good and the bad side by side and really analyze it and make a decision that you know is going to work for you. Don't listen to anybody else, because this is going to be you living that life when it's
Absolutely.
time.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you so much for sharing with us your experience as a hospitalist. So we're just gonna transition a little bit now into some outside endeavors. So we're aware that you have written, you're an author of two books. The first is called Paging Dr. You, a step-by-step guide to becoming a doctor. What made you decide to write a book? How did you come along that process? Were you always an author? Did you get motivated along the way in your journey? Yeah.
I think I got motivated along the way.
Okay.
Because like as a black woman, you turn around and there's nobody around that looks like you. So you're having to go through that journey with people that may not understand you. You have obstacles that they may not have to go through. So it's like it's really hard having to figure it out on your own unless you have people that are very um similar to you that you can relate to. So being a woman in this field, being a black woman in this field is very hard. And you already know it's not that many of us. It's only
Oh,
2.5% of us, maybe 3%, which is crazy. So after I finished residency, started working, looking around, realizing there's still nobody that looks like me. I'm like, what's going on? What's the problem?
right.
And then that's when I started with the social media thing. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's not that many of us.
Mm,
Why is that?
mhm.
It's not because we're not smart. It's not because we can't do it.
Right.
I think there's something in the system that is meant to fail us.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I decided to be that voice, like that guide, to help people know that it's really simple steps that you need to take to get there. It's not impossible, it's difficult. Anything worth having is difficult, but you can do it. It's just that there's no guidance
Right.
because there's not many of us. A lot of young kids, a lot of people don't have anyone to look up to, anyone that they can talk to, ask questions to, because they don't have anyone in their family members that are doctors, or they have never seen a black doctor before. And so that representation is not there. So as a young kid, you don't even think it's attainable. It's not even in your radar
Mhm.
to even think about, oh yeah, I could be a doctor, you know? So it's a simple book written in simple language that you can give to a middle school kid. And it's really simple things to teach them. Um, Things like work on your credit as early as you can. It's
Mhm.
very simple, but a lot of people may not know that that's
Very
important
true.
because
Exactly.
medical school is expensive. Who has the money to pay for this cash? You're going to have to take student loans.
Oh,
And if you don't
absolutely.
have good credit,
Mm,
you're gonna have to rely on somebody to take those loans for you. And most people are gonna be like, nah, I'm not doing that for you. You know, it's on my name. Why would I do that? So work on your credit, do some volunteering when you're in high school when you can. Don't do nothing crazy on social media because it follows you all the way. When
right.
it's time to interview, everything you have on the internet is gonna be there to remain. So it's little things to position them for success. The class, what classes do I need to take? What major do I need to do? Little things like that.
I definitely think that's so crucial because, like, a lot of people like they're going to like the field, like they're like first generation, like
Mm.
people don't necessarily have like parents or like relatives that are doctors or in like medical profession that can offer that like advice. So you putting that in like a form in a medium that can be easily accessed, like I think it's a magnificent thing, and on that same note, like I just want to read some of like the reviews to you. Like somebody said, I gave this book to my 16-year-old cousin who is considering becoming a doctor. She loved this book because she saw a woman on the cover that looked just like her. And the practical info in this book will inspire you to take action. Another person, I'm a board certified nurse practitioner. And after reading this book, I'm very motivated to go back to get my doctorate degree. Another individual, I don't like this book. I love this book. I wish I could rate it more than 5 stars. How does it feel to hear those reviews?
It just makes me feel good to know that I was able to like give back. I recognize that I was very fortunate enough to have parents in the medical field because there were times where I really wanted to give up. There were times I wanted to quit. There were times I didn't think I was going to be able to do this. But having them push me and tell me, no, we went through it. That's the process. You just have to push through
Right.
and make it. I recognize that that I had that and I know a lot of people don't have that. So I want to be that for them. And I want to tell them, look, I mean, it's the process. There's ups and downs, but once you get up there, the rewards are amazing. Keep pushing through, keep doing it. It's not going to be easy sometimes. So I want them to see that I went through it. Even though I had that support, I still had to study. I still had to take the same exams. I mean, you have to still go through the process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not impossible.
All right. Thank you so much. I feel like you're dropping a lot of gems, a lot of knowledge. Like this is amazing. So your second book, called "Tell Me Where Does It Hurt." It's a children's book, illustrated by Remy Bryant, where the mom is a black physician. Tell us what made you want to write that book specifically.
So I think that in order to change the statistics, because I'm really passionate about helping change those statistics. I
Right.
have black children, and one day I'm not going to be here. And when I'm not here, I want these kids, my kids,
Mm-hmm.
and anybody else's kids to be able to go to a doctor that looks like them or to be able to know that it's attainable. They can do it. My
Mm-hmm.
kids have me and my husband, they see it every day. But I want to be able to show the other kids that it's possible. But in order to change that 2.5%, we have
Right.
to start with the youth. We
Mm-hmm.
have to let the little ones know that they can be a doctor, just
Wow.
like they can be a movie star, just like they can be a football player or whatever they want to be. But doctor is now very attainable. It's up there just like everything else you see on TV, because they see a lot of rappers, they see a
Of
lot of
course.
ball players, and that's fine too. But they
Right.
don't see a lot of lawyers, they don't see a lot of doctors. So since I'm a doctor and that's what I do, I want to make sure that I show kids that this is also attainable. So I wrote this book in a fun way so that not only they can see a woman, but they see a black woman, they see a black doctor, and then she also has a family, she has kids. So hey, it's normal. It's
Wow.
very normal um, for a black woman to still be able to go to work. She loves what she does. She helps save lives. She makes the kids feel better. So when they see themselves in the book and then they see people that look like them, they see a woman who can pass for their cousins, their sisters, their mothers, their aunties,
Mm-hmm.
in their mind, it does something to them to know that, oh, this is normal. Yeah, I could do that too. I could be like her. And then the other thing that it does is it makes them be more comfortable with their doctor
Mm-hmm.
because she's so sweet. She'll take care of you. You might be scared, but then at the end, you're going to love her. So it will make them love their doctors too, or look forward to going to their
Yeah.
doctor. So they're not afraid.
Right. We're gonna
So
eliminate that white coat hypertension. Take that out of the
for the
picture.
little ones, right?
For the little ones, yeah, 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 definitely. Wow, this is so much knowledge. Thank you so much. So just approaching to oh wow, somebody just ordered a copy. That's spectacular, amazing, amazing. Okay,
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please leave me a review. on
Yes.
Amazon after you get the book, okay?
Right, all right, amazing. So like in addition to being a physician, author, mother, you definitely also have a YouTube page and a website, and you also do one-on-one coaching. So I just want to ask, like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, from now, like with all these
Oh,
projects, like
that's a good question.
that's what we do here at the Village Doctors. We ask good
Good,
questions.
good, good question. 5 years from now, you
Okay.
want the truth?
Please, this is a medium of honesty. We only accept honesty. Please, please.
So I love medicine. You know, medicine is everything for me.
Hmm.
Medicine is not who I am, medicine is what I do. And I
Right.
have different sides of me. I love to travel. I
Hmm.
want to be able to travel more. So I'm hoping that 5 years from now, I can scale back a little bit. I still want to do medicine, but I'm trying not to do medicine on the weekends anymore. So if that's possible, that is something I want to do. And then maybe travel more and write more books. I don't know. Let's see what the future holds. But I'm not quitting medicine now.
Right, 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 right. So like, and then I would like to ask then, if that's the case, so did you ever think about like, having like a private practice, like when you were making that decision of like becoming an internist, did you ever consider going ahead with the route of a private practice?
Yeah, I did. So when I was transitioning from residency to, like I said before, like I thought I was gonna do GI, ended up not doing it, got married, had kids, well,
Mhm.
got pregnant last 6 months of residency, then I had to move, start a job. It was very overwhelming because when I found out I was pregnant, it was literally like the beginning of the year, my last year. Well, it was January
Okay.
of my last year
Oh,
of
resident.
residency, and I was
Okay.
finishing up residency in June.
Right.
So I was due end of August.
Okay.
Mind you, that's around the time when you start thinking about where you're going to move to,
Hmm.
what job you're going to take. You start looking at the potential, jobs out there. You want to start interviewing, maybe get a contract. So I started doing all of that. The problem was at the time, pregnancy was a pre-existing condition.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when I left residency in June, I wasn't able to get on my husband's insurance because I was too far along and
Hmm.
no insurance company would take me. So I had to start working right away. And
Okay.
internal medicine boards is not until August.
Okay.
So my job took me pending my board. Okay.
Hmm.
And so imagine being pregnant, 7, 8 months pregnant, starting a new job in July because I finished residency end of June. I
Hmm.
was due end of August. So I'm
Wow.
like right there,
My goodness.
starting a new job and then studying for the boards too because my board was going to be in August. So it was a lot and I had to move from Macon to Atlanta.
Hmm.
It was just too much going on at the time. So after I took my board exam, passed it, had my child, took a couple months off, worked another year as a hospitalist, I decided, you know what? Maybe hospital medicine is not what I need to do right now. Let me
See.
try private practice. And I left hospital medicine,
Oh.
tried private practice. That did not work out for me. Because then I realized how outpatient medicine is not my thing. That just wasn't what I liked doing. I feel like it was horrible for me. I felt like I was working more. It was Monday through Friday. I only had the weekend off. Next thing you know, it's Monday again. Like it was just so many
Mm.
things
Right.
um, that it just wasn't for me. So I left and went back to hospital medicine. So sometimes you just have to try little things to see what really works for you. Because, like in the back of your mind, you may always wonder, what if? Well, for me, I don't have to wonder what if because I tried it out and it was not for me. So I know hospital medicine is it.
Okay. Thank you so much. I had no
Yeah.
idea that you actually tried out like
Oh,
the
I tried it out.
wow. Wow.
I did, yeah.
So like, I just wanna ask, definitely in this room right now, we have different individuals from different walks of life. You know, everybody going through their own different challenges in different ways. So if you could like see yourself, talk to your younger self, you know, years ago from now, look yourself in the eye and give a valuable piece of advice, what would it be? What would you tell yourself?
You know, I would tell myself that I belong right where I am. Because back then, I wasn't really that confident, only because there wasn't that representation. So I always felt like I had to work so hard to prove myself, to prove that I belong there. You know what? Like, had I known what I know now,
Right.
I would have taken that pressure off of me. um, to know that I belong right where I am with everybody else that's next to me. Even though nobody that's next to me looks like me, we all went through the same exams
Mm-hmm.
and they're here, I'm here.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
yeah, it would have made things a lot easier. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people, like, you know, sometimes you just need somebody to tell you that. You just need to be told that, or tell yourself that, you know, because like in this field, definitely like you can look around and not necessarily see like people that look like you, or the certain challenges that you feel like may make you feel like, oh, do I really, you know, am I
Yeah.
supposed to be here? You know,
Yeah,
so
and you doubt yourself. You're like,
absolutely.
did they give me something to make me be here? Am I worth it? Do I belong here? Like, you just start doubting yourself. And that's because of the environment, you
Mm.
know? So, had I known that, I mean, I think it would have been a whole different thing for me.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Um, so like here at the Village Doctors, like you know, because we're, you know, aspiring to be doctors, we definitely believe that it takes a village in order for you to achieve those goals. Who would you say is in your village, and who are the group of individuals that supported you along the way, that gave you a shoulder to lean on when you were undergoing your challenges through your career?
Definitely when I was in undergrad, meeting this group of people that we literally had just met, well, we clicked. We clicked because we had the same goals, the same ambition. We wanted the same thing.
Right.
Eventually was to, you know, go through all these exams, pass it, and eventually end up either in dentistry school for some of them or med school. And a lot of us were doing the same major. Okay. So meeting those folks gave me a lot of hope, a lot of positivity, a lot of ambition. We helped each other out. Like it's so important for you to surround yourself with like-minded people. I think that was a huge difference for me in undergrad, especially because when I started my first semester and realized, oh my God, this is hard. Like, am I going to be able to do this? And had to drop out of a few classes.
Right.
Um, these people were the people that helped me. And I'm sure I helped them too. Like we helped each other. But surrounding yourself with like-minded people is so important. You don't want negativity around you. You don't want people to tell you you can't do it. Are you sure? Is that what you want? It's going to take a long time. It's going to be expensive. I don't think you could do it. Like whatever it is, you got to push these people away. They're not for you. And
Preach,
find
preach.
people that have the same goals that you do, the same mindset, and just keep going until you reach that goal. Period.
Absolutely. Even like during the rotation, I'm on my electrophysiology rotation right now, and I was talking to my preceptor, and like we were talking about, you know, basically what you're saying right now, how like you need that, you know, group of like-minded individuals, and he framed it. He said if you know, if you're in a group of people and those people are not necessarily there to support you, your circle of individuals are not like-minded individuals, that's a cage. You know, it's not a circle, it's a cage, and you don't want to be in the cage. You got to break out of that mindset and
Mm-hmm.
move on. You know, so definitely that speaks to what you're saying as well. I actually do have a question though, Dr. Eva. How do you pronounce your last name?
Okay, so the real way to pronounce my last name is Beaulieu,
Beaulieu,
but most people can say it. So
right?
I just say Bolu because at the
Beaulieu. Okay.
hospital, you can imagine me having to
Ah,
correct people 20,
book
30,
that is.
50 times a day. I'm
Ooh.
like, yeah, whatever you want to say. Sometimes they just say Dr. B, Dr.
Okay.
Ava. I'm
Okay.
fine with that too.
Okay, spectacular, spectacular. Well, Thank you so much, Dr. Eva. It's been an honor and a privilege for joining us here on the Village Doctors in our live series. Thank you, villagers, for tuning in. We have a lot of things in store for you. And yeah, Dr. Eva, any last words before we end this event?
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Spotlight is on you. Spotlight is on you.
So I would say, you know yourself. You're the only person that knows what you truly want. Like dig deep, follow your heart, follow your intuition. Don't let anybody else sway you left or right or any way. Just go for what you really want to go for because you are the one living this life and you want to ultimately do what makes you happy so that you can have a fulfilled life, fulfilled career, and not regret anything because it's one life to live.
Amazing, amazing. You heard it here first. Know yourself, dig deep, follow your heart. It's one life to live. Thank you so much, Dr. Eva. We truly appreciate your presence here. Thank you.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
See y'all next time. Bye bye, everybody.
Bye.